Germany. Thank you so much. Could technology have prevented this crash? The autopilot feature has been around for more than a century, but what if the plane's computers could take control and steer the aircraft away from disaster? Is that even a good idea? CNN aviation correspondent Renee Marsh joins me now. Renee, automatically controlling a plane's path sounds great in this instance, but I can think of many ways it might not be.
Yeah, Jake, is it a good idea? It really depends on who you ask. We do know that after September 11th, this technology went into development. The goal was essentially to prevent someone from deliberately flying a plane into a building or crashing it in some other way. But the technology never made it into aircraft, and some say that was a lost opportunity to save lives.
Sink rate, pull up.
Despite blaring cockpit alarms like these, Andreas Lubitz continued Germanwings Flight 9525's deadly descent, the plane in his control alone. More than 10 years ago, Airbus, the plane's manufacturer, helped develop software to potentially allow a plane's computers to take over a flight if it got close to crashing. But the project was scrapped before it was put to use.
In the case of the Germanwings passenger murders, this technology would, I believe, have saved the flight.
Here's how it would work. If the pilot does not respond to current audible warnings in the cockpit, an autopilot function would kick in, steering the plane out of danger and onto a safe course. Many commercial pilots say a plane should never be taken out of a pilot's control. The crash landing of U.S. Airways Flight 1549 on the Hudson River in New York, an example. After a flock of geese knocked out both engines, the heroic efforts of Captain Sully Sullenberger saved all 155 people on board. Some pilots also warn technology like enhanced crash avoidance could make jetliners vulnerable to hackers.
More and more people will come to know the technology, they'll work on the technology, and therefore there will be bad people that will be able to exploit that technology. That's not a good thing.
But in incidents like the Germanwings tragedy, where a pilot is being blamed for the crash, former Department of Transportation Inspector General Mary Schiavo says there must be additional safeguards.
Most of the major commercial jetliner crashes in the last 2 or 3 years could have been saved by an override.
Well, Airbus is not saying anything about all this. However, Honeywell, the firm that worked with Airbus, says they won't develop it unless airlines or regulators ask for it. And at this point, Jake, so far that has not happened.
Renee, do we have any idea why the project was scrapped the first time around when it was proposed?
Well, I asked Honeywell this very question. They tell me that they determined at the time they didn't feel as if the technology was mature enough. Essentially, it wasn't ready for prime time. They thought that introducing this sort of technology into the cockpit essentially may create other hurdles. For example, at what point and under what circumstances would the plane give back control to the pilot? There were a lot of questions, and so they decided not to go with it, Jake.
Renee Marsh, thank you so much. Coming up, 11 teachers.